Every alien rejected her. Only a human could see her true beauty. Her aura, a soft blend of blues and silvers, danced with every movement, casting delicate patterns on the crystalline rocks beneath her feet. To her, the world was beautiful yet lonely. Around her, creatures of every imaginable shape lived in their communities, except for her. Everywhere she went, she felt their eyes on her, filled with discomfort, confusion, or outright fear. She had always known she was different. From the moment she could walk on Xyrath's luminous soil, she had felt it. The other beings could sense it too. It was not just her appearance, the soft glow of her skin or the iridescent shimmer of her hair, but something deeper, something that made them uncomfortable. Lyra sighed softly, her voice a whisper that mingled with the gentle hum of the planet. "Why does no one understand me?" she asked herself. The echoes of her words faded into the sparkling horizon. She had tried over and over to be accepted. She had joined the social circles of the crystal beings, danced with the gaseous forms that floated like mist, even attempted to learn the intricate rituals of the reptilian tribes. Yet every time she was met with rejection. The first time she remembered being rejected was when she tried to join the Crystal Council. The crystals were tall, angular beings whose bodies caught the light like polished glass. They moved gracefully, their every step precise. Lyra had approached them with excitement, hoping to share ideas about the festivals that lit up Xyrath's skies. But one of the crystals turned to the others and said, "Her glow is unpredictable. We cannot rely on her presence. She does not belong." The others nodded silently, their facets reflecting a cold light. Lyra had felt the sting of those words deep in her core. She had nodded politely, her voice trembling, and walked away. That day, she realized that some differences were too strange for the world to accept. Over time, the rejections grew heavier. The gaseous beings, who floated with elegance and often communicated in colors and patterns, avoided her completely. Whenever she tried to communicate with them, they would swirl away, their forms twisting into confusing patterns that left her frustrated and lonely. And the reptilians, oh, the reptilians, their sharp eyes could pierce through the darkness, and their words were always direct. "You are not like us," they would say. "Your presence disturbs the balance." Their voices, though not unkind, carried authority and certainty, leaving Lyra with no room to argue. The weight of loneliness pressed on her like a heavy star cloud. She wandered through the forests of crystalline trees, under skies streaked with violet and gold, wishing that someone, anyone, could see her for who she truly was. One day, as she floated near a river of liquid light, she noticed a small creature struggling on the shore. It was a tiny mechanical life form, no bigger than her hand, flickering erratically. Lyra knelt down and extended her glowing hand. "Do you need help?" she asked gently. The machine blinked and squeaked, almost as if it understood. With a careful motion, Lyra guided it back into the river, where it floated more steadily. It chirped a soft melody that made Lyra's heart lift. For a moment, she felt the joy of connection. But as soon as other beings approached the river, their expressions turned to suspicion. "Why is she touching that machine? It's unnatural," a crystalline being whispered. Lyra's heart sank. Even her small act of kindness was viewed as wrong. She left the river quietly, tears reflecting the twin suns above. Night fell over Xyrath, and the skies shimmered with 1,000 stars. Lyra stood atop a hill, gazing at the constellations. The stars were her friends, distant and silent, yet always present. She wondered if somewhere among them there was a place where she truly belonged. As she watched, a meteor streaked across the sky, trailing golden light. Lyra's heart fluttered. "Maybe one day," she whispered, "someone will see me, not just my glow, but me." Days turned into weeks. Lyra moved through her routine, helping where she could, observing the world around her, but always at a distance. The isolation was heavy, yet she found solace in small moments. The shimmer of dew on the crystalline trees, the gentle hum of Xyrath's magnetic winds, the laughter of children who dared to approach her despite the warnings of their elders. One afternoon, she tried to join a festival of light. Creatures from all over Xyrath gathered, their forms casting brilliant reflections. Music and color filled the air. Lyra moved closer, hoping to dance among them. But the moment she stepped into the circle, whispers spread like wildfire. "She doesn't belong." She lifted her hands, letting her glow pulse in gentle waves, syncing with the rhythm of the festival music. The lights around her danced and shimmered, creating patterns unlike anything anyone had seen. For a fleeting moment she felt hope, Perhaps this time someone would appreciate her. But the crowd recoiled. Some of the crystalline beings shattered their own light forms in discomfort. The gaseous ones swirled away violently, and the reptilians hissed their disapproval. Lyra's glow dimmed slightly, though she tried to hold it steady. Alone again, she floated above the festival, watching as the others carried on without her. She sank into the forest after the festival, the trees whispering in the wind. Her reflection shimmered in a pool of liquid light, and she studied herself closely. "Why am I so different?" she murmured. "Is it wrong to be me?" It was in that quiet moment that a small voice spoke from the shadows. "Not wrong, just unseen," Lyra turned. A small creature, unlike any she had seen, emerged. Its form was simple, almost fragile, yet its eyes shone with curiosity. The being did not judge her, did not whisper or recoil. It simply looked, and in its gaze, Lyra felt a warmth she had never known. She smiled, a rare and fragile thing. "Unseen, perhaps, but maybe someday someone will truly see me." That night, Lyra lay atop a hill watching the stars. The universe was vast, filled with beings who might never understand her. Yet for the first time in a long while, she felt a spark of hope. Perhaps, somewhere among the stars, there was a heart that would not fear her difference, a heart that could see her true beauty. As she drifted into sleep, the twin suns of Xyrath sank below the horizon, and the stars shone brighter than ever. And somewhere, far away in the endless expanse of space, a new presence was entering Xyrath's orbit. A human, unaware of the extraordinary being waiting for him, but destined to change everything. Lyra's journey of loneliness was not over, but the first seeds of hope had been planted. She was still an outcast among stars, but for the first time, she dared to believe that being different might not always mean being alone. The twin suns of Xyrath rose again, casting long golden streaks across the crystalline plains. Lyra had spent another lonely night atop the hills, her glow dimmer than usual. The festival had passed, and the whispers of rejection still echoed in her mind. Yet the spark of hope she had felt, the small warmth from the unknown creature, lingered like a fragile flame. She floated through the morning mist, brushing her fingers against the glowing flora, listening to the soft hum of the planet. Then, something unusual appeared on the horizon. A bright streak of light, moving fast across the sky, cutting through the clouds with precision. Lyra squinted, trying to make sense of it. Meteors did not move in straight lines like that. Curiosity stirred inside her. She followed the streak as it descended, its glow growing larger and brighter. Soon, the outline of a vessel emerged, unlike any craft she had seen. Sleek and metallic, it shimmered with a soft silver light, moving with purpose. And from it emerged a figure, human in shape, walking carefully on Xyrath's surface. Lyra's heart beat faster. She had seen humans in data streams and holograms in passing transmissions from distant explorers, but never one in person. And now, one had come to her world, alone. The human approached slowly, scanning the area with a small device. His movements were deliberate, cautious. Lyra noticed something different about him. Unlike the aliens who immediately judged, who recoiled or whispered, he did not seem concerned by the glow of her form. He did not flinch when his eyes met hers. Instead, he paused and tilted his head as if trying to understand her, not to fear her. "Hello," Lyra called softly, her voice carrying like a gentle wind. The human froze for a moment, then smiled. "Hello, are you native to this planet?" Lyra hesitated. Humans spoke in a strange rhythm, their words slow and deliberate, yet warm. There was no judgment in his tone. "Yes, I am Lyra," she said. "Who are you?" "My name is Adrian Cole," he replied. "I'm an explorer from a planet far from here, Earth. You might have heard of it." Lyra's glow pulsed softly at the sound of his words. Earth. She had heard stories of humans being curious, adventurous, and unlike other alien species. Yet she had never expected one to arrive here in the middle of her solitude. "Why have you come?" she asked, floating closer but keeping a safe distance. Adrian's eyes scanned the landscape, then returned to her. "I'm exploring uncharted systems," he said. "Your planet caught my attention, and I sensed someone here." Lyra blinked. No one had sensed her presence without fear before. "No one notices me," she admitted, her voice tinged with sadness. "They see my glow and fear it. They say I do not belong." Adrian studied her carefully. "I don't see fear," he said simply. "I see something unique. Something worth knowing." Lyra's heart lifted. She had never heard words like this directed at her, not from anyone. Her glow brightened slightly, pulsing in rhythm with the hope growing inside her. "Why would you care?" she asked cautiously. I am not like you. I am not like anyone who lives here. Adrian smiled again, a small, reassuring gesture. Sometimes being different is what makes someone special. You might be alone here, but that doesn't mean you are unimportant. The words touched Lyra in ways she could not describe. She had been alone for so long, always rejected, always unseen. But this human, he saw her not as a threat, not as a mistake, but as someone remarkable. They walked together, Lyra floating, Adrian stepping carefully on the soft soil toward the central plains of Xyrath. Along the way, Lyra showed him the glowing rivers, the crystalline forests, and the soft, floating lights that drifted like gentle fireflies. Adrian asked questions, not with judgment, but with fascination. "What are these lights?" he asked, pointing to the floating orbs. "They are called luminara," Lyra explained. "They respond to emotions, to feelings of those nearby. When someone is joyful, they shine brighter. When someone is sad, they dim." Adrian watched closely as the luminara responded to her presence. They pulsed softly, following her glow. "That's incredible," he said. "I've never seen anything like it." Lyra smiled a little shyly. For the first time, someone admired her world and perhaps, by extension, her. As they reached a small hill overlooking the plains, Lyra paused. "Most beings here do not accept me," she said quietly. "They fear my glow, they reject what they do not understand." Adrian nodded. "Fear is a common reaction," he said, "but it doesn't make it right, and it doesn't mean you are wrong. Some beings just lack vision. You, however, shine in ways they cannot see." Lyra felt warmth bloom inside her. For the first time, someone's eyes reflected acceptance instead of judgment. Her glow intensified, brightening the space around them, but it no longer felt overwhelming. It felt natural, shared. Over the next few days, Adrian explored Xyrath with Lyra as his guide. They discovered hidden valleys where the air shimmered with soft energy, caverns filled with crystals that sang when touched, and waterfalls of liquid light that curved in impossible ways. Lyra found herself enjoying his company. His questions were thoughtful, his reactions genuine. Unlike other beings who saw her differences as flaws, he celebrated them. One afternoon, as they rested near a glowing lake, Adrian asked, "Do you ever wish you could leave? Travel beyond Xyrath?" Lyra looked at the twin suns reflecting in the liquid light. "I have thought about it," she admitted, "but the galaxy is vast and I am uncertain. I have never been accepted anywhere else. Every alien race has turned me away." Adrian studied her face. "You may have been turned away," he said, "but maybe the right company will change that, and perhaps you don't need to travel alone. Maybe someone can help you, someone who sees the world differently." Lyra felt a shiver of hope. Could it be possible? Could someone truly see her as she was, not just her glow, not just her unusual form, but her heart, her thoughts, her dreams? The next day, while exploring a valley of towering crystals, they encountered a small group of Xyrathian beings. At first, Lyra's heart sank. She had seen this scene countless times, whispers, recoils, and avoidance, but Adrian stepped forward calmly and confidently. "Do not judge her for her glow," he said firmly, addressing the group. "She is not a threat. She is remarkable, and you would be wise to learn from her." The beings hesitated, confused by his words. Humans were rare on Xyrath, and few dared speak to the native species with such authority. But Adrian's calm and honest presence made them pause. Some of the younger beings approached Lyra cautiously, curiosity overtaking fear. They studied her glow, touched the soft shimmer of her aura, and found themselves fascinated rather than frightened. Lyra's heart soared. For the first time, someone, well, more than one being, did not reject her immediately. She felt a cautious optimism, a sense that maybe the galaxy could change, one encounter at a time. That evening, as the twin suns set and stars began to twinkle across the sky, Lyra floated beside Adrian, watching the constellations. "I never thought someone like you would come," she said softly. "Someone who sees me," Adrian smiled. "Humans are curious, we explore, we try to understand, and sometimes we find treasures in places others overlook." Lyra let out a soft laugh, a sound that mingled with the hum of Xyrath. It felt lighter than it had in years, a release from the weight of constant rejection. She realized that perhaps being different was not a curse, it was a gift, especially when someone was willing to see it. As night fully descended, Lyra and Adrian set up a small camp near a crystal grove. The luminara danced around them, pulsing in harmony with their presence. Lyra's glow merged gently with the lights, and she felt a sense of belonging she had never known. That night she slept with a sense of hope in her heart. Perhaps her loneliness was ending. Perhaps this human, so far from his home, had arrived for more than exploration. Perhaps he had come to understand the beauty of someone the galaxy had long ignored. And somewhere, deep in the vastness of space, other eyes began to notice Xyrath, not just for its glowing landscapes, but for the bond forming between a lonely celestial being and a human who dared to see her true beauty. Lyra had spent so long unseen. But now, for the first time, she felt truly seen. Lyra hovered above the glowing plains of Xyrath, her light flickering softly with the wind that swept across the crystalline landscape. The loneliness that had shadowed her for so long had not vanished, but it felt lighter today, as if some unseen force was stirring in the distance. She had learned to move quietly to avoid attention. The other beings of Xyrath, the crystal towers, the gaseous forms, and the reptilian clans, avoided her or whispered behind her back. Every attempt she had made to join them ended in rejection. She had grown used to the pain, though it never became easy. Then a streak of silver appeared across the sky, breaking the calm. Lyra tilted her head, following it with her glowing eyes. It was fast, precise, and unlike anything she had seen before. Meteors did not move with such intention. Something or someone was coming. The object descended, landing with a soft hum in the open plains. A hatch opened, and out stepped a being with 2 legs, wearing a suit that glimmered under Xyrath's twin suns. The human moved carefully, scanning the terrain with small instruments in his hands. He seemed cautious, yet confident, and most importantly, he did not look afraid of her glow. Lyra's curiosity outweighed her caution. She floated closer, her light pulsing gently. "Hello," she called. The human froze for a moment, then smiled warmly. "Hello. Are you native to this planet?" "Yes," she said softly. "I am Lyra. Who are you?" "I am Adrian Cole," he replied. "I come from a planet called Earth far away. I am an explorer." Lyra blinked. Earth. She had read about humans in data transmissions that passed through Xyrath. They were curious, creative, sometimes reckless, but often capable of great kindness. She had never expected to meet one face to face. "Why have you come here?" she asked. "I explore new worlds," Adrian said. "I follow signals, anomalies, and sometimes beings I sense are extraordinary. I felt something here and I came to see it." Lyra's glow brightened at his words. No one had ever sought her out willingly. No alien had approached her without judgment or fear. "You sense me?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Yes," Adrian said simply, "and I am glad I did." Lyra hesitated, unsure how to respond. Humans were unpredictable, yet there was a warmth in his eyes that made her pulse faster, a feeling she had not experienced in a long time. For the first time, she felt seen, not for her glow, not for her strangeness, but for herself. "Do you want to see my world?" Lyra asked cautiously. "I would like that," he said with a nod. Over the next hours, Lyra guided Adrian through the plains and forests of Xyrath. She showed him rivers of liquid light that flowed like gentle silk, forests of crystalline trees that chimed when the wind passed through them, and hills where the magnetic energy of the planet caused the luminara, small floating lights, to dance in complex patterns. Adrian asked questions with genuine curiosity. "What are these lights?" he said, pointing at the luminara. "They respond to emotions," Lyra explained. "When someone is happy, they shine brighter. When someone is sad, they dim." Adrian watched closely as the luminara shifted, pulsing brighter when Lyra moved closer. "This is incredible," he said. "I have never seen anything like it." For Lyra, it was strange to hear admiration without fear. Her glow had always made others uneasy. To hear someone appreciate it, it was like a dream. Days passed as they explored together. Lyra found herself sharing stories of her life, the times she had tried to join alien societies and the repeated rejections she had faced. Adrian listened patiently, never interrupting or judging. "Being different isn't wrong," he said one evening as the twin suns set in a sky of violet and gold. "Sometimes it's the difference that makes someone remarkable. You may have been rejected before, but that doesn't make you less valuable." Lyra felt her light pulse warmly, brighter than it had in weeks. His words resonated deep within her. For the first time, she began to believe that perhaps her uniqueness could be a gift, not a curse. One afternoon, as they approached a valley of towering crystals, Lyra's glow dimmed slightly. "I worry," she admitted softly. "I have been turned away by everyone I have met. Even small creatures avoid me. What if I am alone forever?" Adrian stepped closer, keeping a respectful distance. "You may have been alone, but it doesn't have to stay that way," he said. Sometimes it takes someone willing to see things differently, and sometimes that someone is a human. Lyra smiled faintly. She had never considered that a human could understand her. Yet with Adrian, it felt possible. Their exploration continued, leading them to a hidden cave filled with crystals that sang when touched. Adrian carefully ran his fingers along the walls, marveling at the sounds. Lyra demonstrated how her glow could make the crystals resonate more clearly, producing melodies that echoed beautifully through the cave. "You are amazing," Adrian said, his voice filled with awe. "I've never seen anything like this anywhere else in the galaxy." Lyra's glow intensified, and for the first time she felt proud of herself. Not the shy pride of someone trying to fit in, but the quiet, strong pride of someone embracing her true nature. However, even as she felt hope, a part of her remained cautious. The galaxy had been cruel in its judgment. Could this human be different? Could he really see her for who she was without fear or prejudice? One evening, as the twin suns dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the plains, they encountered a group of Zyrathian beings. The sight of them made Lyra tense immediately. She had seen this scene countless times, whispers, stares, and avoidance. Her heart sank. But Adrian stepped forward confidently. "Do not judge her for her glow," he said firmly. "She is not a threat. She is remarkable, and you should learn from her, not fear her." The group paused, surprised by the human's words. Few humans had ever come to Zyrath, and even fewer dared speak with authority to native species. Some of the younger beings hesitated, then stepped closer, curiosity replacing fear. They observed Lyra carefully, studying her glow, and for the first time some began to smile. Lyra felt a warmth bloom inside her. Perhaps this time acceptance was not impossible. Perhaps the galaxy could see her differently, one being at a time. That night, Lyra and Adrian camped beneath a grove of crystalline trees. The Luminara floated around them, pulsing softly. Lyra allowed herself to rest, her light blending with the gentle illumination around her. "I have never felt so seen," Lyra whispered. Adrian smiled. "You have always been seen," he said. "You just needed someone willing to notice." Lyra drifted into sleep with a sense of hope she had not known for years. The galaxy was still vast, still full of beings who might reject her, but now she had a companion who saw her true beauty. And far beyond Zyrath, in the endless expanse of space, Adrian's ship sent quiet signals of exploration. Unknowingly, he was marking the start of something extraordinary, not just for him, but for Lyra, the luminous being who had spent so long alone. For the first time in her life, Lyra dared to imagine a future where she was not simply tolerated, but appreciated. She dared to hope that perhaps she would find more like Adrian, beings who could see the beauty in differences, the value in uniqueness, and the light in the heart of someone who had been unseen for too long. As the stars sparkled above Zyrath, Lyra's glow merged with the night sky, a beacon of hope and anticipation. Her journey was far from over, but now she had a guide, a friend, and perhaps the first true ally she had ever known. The galaxy had shifted just slightly, and with it, so had her world. The next morning, Zyrath's twin suns rose slowly over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of violet and gold. Lyra floated gently above the crystalline plains, her light steady and calm. For the first time in years, she felt a sense of peace. She was not alone. Adrian Cole, the human explorer, had stayed nearby through the night, and his presence brought a quiet warmth she had never experienced before. "Good morning," Adrian called, his voice cheerful despite the cool light of dawn. "Good morning," Lyra replied, her glow pulsing softly. She had grown accustomed to his presence in a way that felt natural, comforting. She wondered if humans always had this ability to make others feel seen. "Are you ready to explore today?" Adrian asked, adjusting the small tools on his suit. Lyra nodded. "Yes, there is a valley I have never entered. I am not sure what lies there." Together, they moved toward the valley, the soft hum of the planet beneath them guiding their path. The terrain changed as they approached. Jagged crystalline cliffs gave way to smooth, shimmering fields, and the air itself seemed to vibrate gently, filled with faint energy that Lyra could feel in her glowing form. As they walked, Lyra shared more about herself. "I have spent my life being rejected," she said softly. "Not because I am cruel or unkind, but because I am different. Every alien species I have met has turned away. They say my light is too unusual, my presence too unpredictable." Adrian listened closely, nodding. "I can understand why that would be difficult," he said. "But it is not your fault. Being different does not mean you are wrong. It only means others are not ready to understand you yet. Lyra's glow brightened slightly at his words. For the first time, someone spoke with such certainty without judgment or fear. You see me differently, she said. Why? Adrian smiled. Humans are explorers. We try to understand what we cannot immediately explain, and sometimes we find beauty in places others overlook. You are one of those places. Lyra felt a warmth spread through her light. It was strange and wonderful, this feeling of connection. She had spent so long alone that every kind word felt like a small miracle. As they entered the valley, the ground beneath them shimmered with soft light. Strange flowers with translucent petals opened as they passed, revealing tiny patterns that seemed to respond to Lyra's glow. She reached out, touching one gently, and the flower pulsed in rhythm with her aura. Adrian knelt beside her, examining it closely. This is incredible, he whispered. I have never seen anything like this anywhere in the galaxy. Lyra smiled faintly. Few beings take the time to notice, she said. Most only fear what they cannot understand. Adrian looked at her seriously. Fear is common, he said, but it does not make it right, and it does not define you. You are extraordinary, Lyra, and the galaxy would be lucky to know your true light. Lyra's glow pulsed warmly, almost in response to his words. For the first time, she felt a bond that went beyond words, a connection that was stronger than fear or loneliness. They spent the day exploring deeper into the valley. Strange creatures, some crystalline, some gaseous, observed them from a distance. Normally, Lyra would have felt anxiety, but Adrian's calm presence steadied her. He did not flinch at her glow, nor did he show fear when the creatures approached, curious but cautious. Why do they not attack? Lyra asked quietly. Because they sense that I am not here to harm you, Adrian replied. And because they see your light as part of this world, not a threat to it. Sometimes, confidence and calm can change the way others see us. Lyra considered his words carefully. It was a lesson she had never learned before. That perception could be influenced not just by her actions, but by the presence of someone who believed in her. As the suns began to set, casting long shadows over the valley, they discovered a small, hidden lake. Its surface glimmered with liquid light, reflecting the stars already appearing in the darkening sky. Lyra hovered above it, watching her reflection shimmer in the water. Do you ever wish you could leave this place? Adrian asked, joining her. Travel beyond Zyrath. Lyra's glow dimmed slightly. Sometimes, she admitted, but I have never been accepted anywhere else. Every place I tried, I was rejected. Even the smallest kindness was rare. Adrian nodded. That is why it is important to find the right company, he said. Sometimes it is not about running away from loneliness, but finding someone who sees you for who you truly are. Lyra felt a shiver of hope. Perhaps it was possible. Perhaps her light, her uniqueness, could finally be appreciated. The next morning, as they continued their exploration, they encountered a group of Zyrathian beings from the plains below. Lyra tensed immediately, her glow flickering nervously. She had faced this many times before, whispers, fear, and avoidance. But Adrian stepped forward, calm and unwavering. Do not judge her for her glow, he said firmly. She is not a threat. She is extraordinary. You should learn from her, not fear her. The beings hesitated, confused by the human's words. Few humans had ever come to Zyrath, and even fewer dared speak with such confidence. Slowly, the younger ones approached, curious instead of fearful. They observed Lyra, studying her glow, and found themselves fascinated rather than alarmed. Lyra felt her light steady and strengthen. For the first time, acceptance seemed possible, not universal, but real. As they rested beside a grove of shimmering crystals, Adrian asked, Lyra, do you ever wonder why humans can sometimes see things others cannot? She thought for a moment. Perhaps humans are willing to look deeper, to see the heart behind the appearance. That is something many beings fail to do. Adrian smiled. Exactly, we explore not just for knowledge, but for understanding. And when we find something truly remarkable, we protect it, we cherish it. Lyra's glow pulsed brightly. I have never had anyone cherish me, she admitted softly. Not truly. Always they see only my difference and reject it. Adrian placed a gentle hand on a nearby crystal, letting its hum resonate with his words. You are no longer alone, Lyra, and perhaps, with time, others will begin to see as I do. But even if they do not, you have someone who does. Lyra looked at him, her light shimmering like a river of silver. For the first time, she felt a connection that went beyond loneliness. She felt seen, understood, and valued. The day faded into night, and the stars of Xyrath twinkled above them. The Luminara floated around, pulsing gently in rhythm with Lyra's aura. She felt a calm joy she had not known in years. "Adrian," she whispered, "thank you for seeing me, for believing in me." Adrian smiled. "You don't need me to see your light, Lyra. You just needed someone to remind you that it is already there, and I am honored to witness it." Lyra's glow pulsed warmly, spreading over the crystalline valley, touching every flower, every stone, every gentle breeze. For the first time, she felt the galaxy was not entirely hostile. There were beings, like Adrian, who could understand and appreciate her. As they settled for the night near the glowing lake, Lyra floated beside him, her light blending softly with the reflections of the stars above. The journey ahead was still uncertain. There would be challenges, and not everyone would accept her. But now she had a companion who could guide her, support her, and remind her of her worth. Her past of rejection no longer felt like a permanent shadow. Instead, it became a memory that strengthened her, preparing her for the adventures and trials to come. And far above Xyrath, in the endless black of space, unknown forces were beginning to notice the unusual pairing. A human and a luminous being, bonded by understanding and courage. The galaxy would soon see that difference could be a source of strength, and that sometimes it takes someone willing to look beyond appearances to uncover true beauty. Lyra's journey of isolation was evolving into one of hope. She had discovered that being different was not a curse, it was a gift, and with Adrian by her side, she was ready to face whatever the stars might bring. The twin suns dipped below the horizon, the Luminara danced around them, and for the first time, Lyra allowed herself to feel whole. The twin suns of Xyrath had barely risen when a strange vibration ran through the crystalline plains. Lyra's glow flickered nervously as she floated above the ground, sensing something unusual in the air. The energy of the planet felt disturbed, like the calm before a storm. Adrian noticed her tension immediately. "What is it?" he asked, scanning the horizon. "I do not know," Lyra admitted softly. "But something is wrong. The energy here is not natural. I feel it in my glow, in the wind, in the crystals." They moved cautiously toward a hill that overlooked the valley. From there, Lyra could see a formation of sleek ships descending rapidly, their metal bodies reflecting the morning light. These ships were unlike any Adrian had ever seen before. Large, imposing, and heavily armed, they moved with precision that suggested experience and authority. Lyra's heart sank. "The Galactic Council," she whispered. "They have come." Adrian frowned. "The Galactic Council?" he asked, unfamiliar with their power. "They are the rulers of multiple star systems," Lyra explained. "They enforce rules and order, often without understanding or compassion. They do not accept differences, and they do not tolerate beings they consider unpredictable. They see me as a threat simply because I am unusual." Adrian's jaw tightened. "Then we need a plan." The council ships landed on the plains below. Metallic doors opened, revealing figures in uniforms of dark silver and deep blue. Their forms were tall, sharp-edged, and rigid, each carrying symbols of authority. Lyra felt a cold wave of fear pass through her. These beings were not like the curious or cautious creatures she had met before. They were law and judgment incarnate. A commanding voice echoed across the valley. "Lyra of Xyrath," it said, "you have defied the rules of the Galactic Council. Your presence disrupts the balance of the systems. You are to be contained immediately." Lyra's glow dimmed in fear, but Adrian placed a reassuring hand on a nearby crystal, letting its hum resonate with steady energy. "They cannot define you by their rules," he said calmly. "We will face this together." The council enforcers began advancing toward them. Lyra floated higher, attempting to shield herself with her aura, but the sheer numbers of the enforcers made her realize that confrontation would be difficult. Adrian quickly assessed the situation. "We cannot fight them directly," he said, "but we can outsmart them. I have equipment in my ship. It can help us create a diversion long enough to escape." Lyra nodded, her light pulsing with determination. "Lead the way," she said. They moved swiftly, navigating through a narrow canyon that gave them some cover. Lyra's glow illuminated the path, while Adrian's careful movements and devices ensured they were not detected immediately. The council enforcers pursued them, their ships scanning and patrolling the valley relentlessly. Adrian set up a small device near the canyon entrance. "This should emit signals that confuse their scanners," he explained. "It will make them think we went in another direction." Lyra's glow merged with the reflections of the crystals, creating an almost magical illusion. To any observer, it would appear as if a brilliant phantom floated through the canyon, shifting directions constantly. The council enforcers hesitated, momentarily confused by the display. Seizing the opportunity, Lyra and Adrian slipped further into the canyon, deeper into the hidden parts of Xyrath. "You are stronger than you think," Adrian said, glancing at her. "Your glow, it can protect you in ways they cannot anticipate." Lyra felt a surge of confidence. "I have always feared my light," she admitted, "but with you here it feels like a shield, not a curse." As they moved through the canyon, Lyra noticed small creatures watching from the shadows. Some were crystalline, others gaseous. Normally, she would have felt anxious, but now she saw curiosity instead of fear in their eyes. Her actions, guided by Adrian's presence, seemed to inspire trust. After several tense hours, they reached a cavern hidden behind a waterfall of liquid light. The natural formation created a secret chamber, perfectly concealed from the outside. Lyra's glow reflected off the water and crystals, filling the space with a calming, radiant energy. Adrian examined the devices he had brought. "This cavern will hold for a while," he said. "But we need to prepare for the council to find another way in. They are persistent and powerful. We must think ahead." Lyra floated closer, her light steady. "I have an idea," she said. "My aura can interact with the crystals. If we use them to create a barrier, it may slow or confuse the council ships. They cannot predict the patterns my glow can create." Adrian nodded. "Then let's try it." Together, they focused their energy. Lyra's glow intertwined with the crystalline walls of the cavern, sending pulses that resonated through the stones. The vibrations created illusions, reflecting and bending light in complex patterns. Outside, the council ships detected strange signals, their sensors unable to penetrate the shifting maze of light and crystal. Hours passed. Lyra and Adrian remained vigilant, hiding, observing, and planning. Through their efforts, Lyra began to realize the true value of companionship. Alone, she might have been overwhelmed by fear or despair. But with Adrian, she felt capable of facing the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Finally, the council, frustrated by their inability to detect the hidden cavern, called off the immediate search. Their ships lifted, scanning the valleys once more before moving on. Lyra's glow dimmed slightly, exhaustion mingling with relief. "They have not given up," she said. "They will return, we must be ready." Adrian placed a hand on her shoulder gently. "We will be," he said. "Together we are stronger than they expect. They cannot predict the bond we share or the way your light can guide and protect us." Lyra felt a surge of hope. The council represented the galaxy's fear of difference, yet she realized that fear could be overcome. Not by hiding, not by shrinking, but by embracing who she truly was, and by trusting someone who understood her. As night fell over Xerath, the Luminara floated around the cavern, pulsing softly with Lyra's aura. The stars above twinkled like distant eyes watching over them. She felt a sense of purpose growing inside her. "I have spent so long hiding," she whispered. "Perhaps it is time to face the galaxy, not as someone to be feared, but as someone to be seen." Adrian smiled, his eyes reflecting the glow of the Luminara. "And I will be with you," he said. "Through every challenge, every danger, you are not alone anymore." Lyra allowed herself to glow fully, her light merging with the crystals and the Luminara, filling the hidden cavern with radiant energy. For the first time, she felt truly empowered. She was not simply a being rejected by the galaxy. She was a force capable of change, capable of inspiring curiosity, trust, and admiration. The Galactic Council had come, but they did not yet understand the strength of the bond between a human and a being of light. They could not foresee the courage, the cleverness, and the resilience that Lyra and Adrian shared. And as long as they remained together, the galaxy's judgment could be faced, and perhaps even challenged. Lyra floated above the cavern pool, her reflection merging with the glittering water. "We can do this," she said softly. "We can show the galaxy that difference is not weakness." Adrian nodded. "And we will," he replied. "Step by step, we will prove that courage, understanding, and friendship can overcome fear." The twin suns of Xyrath dipped below the horizon, leaving the planet bathed in the soft glow of stars and Luminara. For Lyra, the path ahead was still uncertain, but for the first time she did not feel fear alone. She felt strength, companionship, and the promise of a future where her true beauty could finally be seen, not just by one human, but perhaps by many. The galaxy had begun to notice them, and the adventure, the test of courage and light, was only just beginning. The twin suns of Xyrath rose slowly over the crystalline plains, painting the sky in gentle shades of gold and violet. Lyra floated above the glowing terrain, her light steady and strong. The events of the past days weighed on her, yet her heart was lighter than it had ever been. She had faced the judgment of the Galactic Council, learned to navigate their fear, and most importantly, found companionship in Adrian, a human who saw her for who she truly was. Adrian stepped carefully onto the glowing ground beside her, adjusting the equipment he had brought. "Today will be different," he said with a quiet confidence. "We've proven that the Council underestimates you. Now it's time the galaxy begins to see what I see." Lyra's glow pulsed warmly. She had spent centuries, or so it felt, hidden from those who could not understand her. The idea of recognition was almost unfamiliar yet thrilling. "Do you think they will listen?" she asked softly. Adrian smiled. "Some will, others may take time, but anyone willing to open their eyes will see your light for what it truly is." Together, they moved toward the plains, where beings from nearby regions had gathered. Word of Lyra's courage and the cleverness of her escape from the Council had spread slowly. Some were curious, others cautious. Few expected to witness the luminous being who had confounded the powerful enforcers of the galaxy. As Lyra approached, her glow radiated confidence. She remembered all the times she had been rejected, whispered about, and avoided. Each memory surged within her not as pain, but as strength. She would no longer shrink. She would no longer hide. She was Lyra, and she had survived and grown through every challenge. The first beings to step forward were young crystalline creatures. They had watched the events from a distance, their sharp edges glimmering in the sunlight. "Your glow, it is remarkable," one said hesitantly. We have never seen it like this. It is beautiful." Lyra's light shimmered in response, soft and inviting. She extended her hand gently. "Thank you," she said. "I have waited a long time to be seen, not just for my glow, but for who I truly am." More beings approached, drawn by curiosity and the stories of courage they had heard. Gaseous forms swirled cautiously around her, no longer in fear but in fascination. Reptilian clans observed silently, their sharp eyes scanning every movement, yet their posture had changed. They no longer recoiled. Adrian stood beside her, his calm presence steadying her. "Do not fear judgment," he whispered. "They are here to learn, not to condemn." Lyra nodded, letting her light pulse gently. She began to share her experiences, explaining the misunderstandings she had faced and the beauty of Xyrath she had always loved. Her words flowed easily, guided by her glow, her honesty, and the trust she felt in Adrian's presence. For hours she spoke, and slowly the beings around her began to understand. They asked questions, touched the soft edges of her light, and marveled at the way it interacted with the planet's natural energy. Some were young and open-minded, others older and more skeptical, yet each could not ignore the truth in her presence. Lyra was extraordinary, not threatening. As the day progressed, the Galactic Council reappeared, not with anger but with cautious curiosity. They had monitored the valley from afar, expecting defiance or chaos. Instead, they witnessed cooperation, understanding, and admiration. A council leader, tall and imposing, stepped forward. "Lyra of Xyrath," he said, his voice echoing across the plains. "We observed your actions and your alliance with this human. It appears our judgment was incomplete. You have shown intelligence, bravery, and the ability to inspire others. Perhaps we were wrong to reject you." Lyra's glow brightened, but she remained humble. "I only wish to be seen," she said softly, "not as a threat, but as a being with thoughts, feelings, and a place in this galaxy." The council members exchanged glances, silent for a moment, and then nodded. Slowly, they began to recognize that her differences were not flaws but gifts. Her ability to harness her glow, her empathy, and her courage had challenged their assumptions. Adrian smiled quietly beside her. "See," he whispered, "they are beginning to understand. You are not alone anymore." Lyra's light pulsed warmly, mingling with the surrounding energy. The Luminara danced around her, reflecting the approval and admiration of the gathered beings. For the first time, she felt truly accepted, not just by one human, but by a part of the galaxy that had once rejected her. The recognition was not universal. Some beings remained wary, hesitant to embrace what they did not fully understand. But Lyra realized that change often started with small steps. She had inspired curiosity and respect in enough hearts to make a difference. That evening, as the twin suns set behind the mountains, Lyra and Adrian stood on a hill overlooking the valley. The stars began to sparkle above, mirrored by the glowing plains below. Lyra's light merged with the reflections, bright and steady. "We did it," she said softly. "Not just for me, but for others like me, for those who are different and unseen." Adrian nodded. "And there will be more, Lyra. More worlds to explore, more beings to inspire, more hearts to open. Your light is just the beginning." Lyra smiled, feeling a calm joy she had never known. She had survived rejection, faced powerful enforcers, and found someone who truly understood her. She had transformed loneliness into connection, fear into courage, and difference into strength. "Where do we go next?" she asked, her voice full of wonder. Adrian looked out at the stars, his eyes reflecting the infinite possibilities. "Anywhere the galaxy needs us," he said. "There are worlds that will not understand and others that will. But together we can show them the beauty of what is different and the strength of what is unique." Lyra felt her glow expand, bright and unwavering. She was ready for new horizons, new adventures, and new discoveries. The galaxy was vast, and her journey had only begun. As night fully descended, the valley glowed with soft, radiant energy. The Luminara pulsed around them, mirroring the light of Lyra and the bond she shared with Adrian. They were no longer simply a being and a human. They were a team, a partnership that symbolized hope, understanding, and the courage to be oneself in a galaxy that often misunderstood difference. And so Lyra, once rejected by every alien she had met, now stood recognized, celebrated, and free. Not because the galaxy had changed entirely, but because she had found the one perspective that truly mattered, that of a human who saw her true beauty. The twin suns of Xyrath sank below the horizon, leaving the stars shining brighter than ever. Lyra's light mingled with them, a symbol of hope for all who felt unseen. And Adrian, standing by her side, knew that together they would face the endless cosmos, ready to discover the wonders and challenges that awaited them beyond the horizon. For Lyra, the outcast among stars had finally become a beacon. And for the galaxy, the lesson was clear. Sometimes it takes a human heart to see the extraordinary in what others cannot. With the first step taken, the universe was theirs to explore, and this time, Lyra would shine, unafraid and fully seen.